So about 25 years ago now, I gave up skiing. I'd been skiing for about 15 years at that point, ever since our father took me and my two sisters down to the south of France in his Jaguar when I was 17, and I really enjoyed being on the snow. I went for skiing holidays over the next 15 years, about once a year. But I felt increasingly frustrated, annoyed, quite inferno levels of anger, stuck on the top of a ski slope, looking down it, and just thinking, yeah, I can get down, but it's not going to be very pretty, and it's possibly going to be quite painful. Everything culminated in a family holiday in Verbier, Switzerland. Our Canadian cousins had joined us, and they were born on skis, and I got a little bit of food poisoning on the trip. And anyway, by the end of the holiday, I remember being on a nursery slope, or virtually beginner slope, and trying to get down, and it being hopeless, and me falling over. And I just decided, I remember sitting there at the bottom of the slope in the snow and thinking, I've had enough of this, I quit. And, you know, I just decided that I wasn't that guy, that I didn't have what it takes to be a skier. I was never a natural sportsman, unlike my father. And I'm just like sort of imprisoned in a bunch of ideas that have been built up over 15 years with ski instructors that had not really taken a proper interest in improving my skiing, but, you know, just basically being like, you know, French and Italian ski instructors mostly, who said things like bend the knees and skied gracefully down the ski slope with their little sort of family of ducklings behind them, showing off their own skills as much as taking an interest in improving yours. And you know, so I was just in a bit of a state, and as I say, I concluded that if I can't learn this stuff, if it's not possible for me to learn this stuff, then why continue? And it was nearly 10 years after that trip, I found myself back in a ski resort in Austria. I'm a lawyer, and I had a client who'd married a ski instructor, so now lived out in the Austrian Alps. And I spent a week there having to do legal business. I hadn't packed any ski kit. I didn't have any ski kit. I wasn't going to be skiing. And then over coffee, when his wife asked me, you know, do you ski? And I said, well, no, not really. She said, what do you mean not really? And I said, well, I gave up. It was like a red rag to a bull, and she badgered me out onto the ski slopes. Oh my word. And like a massive penny dropped. It was an epiphany, not just about skiing, but about life, and one's attitude towards pursuits, skills, endeavours in life. And she used, you know, techniques and methods. She's really smart coach, as well as an extremely good skier. And she unlocked the blockage. She let me out of the prison. And I'll talk more in a later vlog about that whole experience, perhaps. But after that, it was just a 180-degree flip in terms of my experience of what it is to ski on the snow. I'm not an Olympic level skier now, but I'm competent, I'm confident, most importantly, I actually enjoy it, and I have very little fear, because when you can do it, when you've acquired the skill, the fear goes away. And you just start to develop this kind of enthusiasm, and there's nothing like skiing. It's, you know, being a bird on snow, and effortlessly cruising down a mountainside is one of the most exhilarating experiences a human being can have, in my view, in a vertical position anyway. So this was a big breakthrough for me, and it actually led to breakthroughs in other areas in my dating life, where I was kind of being marooned. Never really understood much about how to do it, how to date, how to approach girls, how to flirt. More recently, taken an interest in golf. And I've started to look at, well, what were or are the underlying principles, what's the code that's at work in terms of the correct approach to acquiring skills in any area of your life. I mean, I just wonder how deep this goes. Not just sports or crafts or skills, but more soft pursuits like conversational skills, flirting skills. And I'm now enthusiastic about exploring a whole range of other areas of life, kind of putting principles into action, putting kind of one's philosophy, so almost like it's a spiritual dimension. And I am going to be talking about meditation during this series. But actually approaching all of that from a kind of a visceral, real place of taking action, applying knowledge, and putting it into action, which is really the litmus test of whether the knowledge is permanent knowledge, a lasting knowledge. So there it is. This channel is a journey into discovering more around this area and exploring it. And I invite you to join me. And I'll finally just say that I, now have a sneaking suspicion that it ain't anything to do about natural talent.
Who'd have thought? Slow down a bit, Alex!